Are we recording this?
She'll record
We are now. Everybody, welcome. We are very excited to have you on Tuesday 20 Zoom. It's the 20th of January. I'm Chantel Flake, Presidential Director, and I'm excited to be introducing our guest speakers today. And we have our very own Tiare and Spencer Walker. They actually gave this presentation at a local event, and it was just amazing. I heard so many coaches talking about this and just really how it's really applicable to any coach. It's not just, the coaches that have been coaching for over a year, as you can see with the topic, but it's really even new coaches. I love it. How to stay committed after the honeymoon, right? Can anybody relate? It's definitely something that needs to be learned and talked about. And I love that about our team is we're honest with each other. And we share like our experiences, and we're not just trying to act like, oh, we're just perfect all the time. And, we're perfect health coaches. It's like this training is for you to realize that we all have these emotions, we have these feelings, but it's really how you react to them and what you do because of those. And I think Tiare and Spencer are a perfect example of this topic. Hopefully they'll share some experiences of kind of their journey and how they've kind of made it work together. So anyway, without further ado, let's have them take it away.
Thanks, Chantel. So yeah, we really like fun analogies, and this one has probably been the funnest one we've done thus far. I'll preface this by saying we are not qualified marriage counselors, so take it with a grain of salt and apply it to your marriage if you feel like you so need it, or talk to somebody who's actually professional.
And some of these examples we use in this presentation aren't necessarily from our own marriage, but from what we've heard other people express their issues or concerns.
So here we go. How to stay committed after the honeymoon. So, honestly, when you get started as a health coach, it's kind of like after you first get married. That honeymoon, right? Everything is amazing. Nothing bothers you. Your spouse is perfect. They can do no wrong in your eyes. And coaching, it's kind of the same thing where you have that initial rush of clients or people who are really interested in what you're doing. The first time reaction to your transformation or weight loss is always so fun because people are really excited and you're really excited to tell your story. Kind of like when you get engaged or you're in love, it's like you can't shut up. You just keep talking and talking and talking about that person. And it's very much the same thing with coaching. And again, everything is awesome. And we love this picture of Sleeping Beauty and her prince because they're just, it's all rainbows and sunshine. And that's pretty much the honeymoon phase for coaching. Then life sets in. And you can see by that picture, you've got Sleeping Beauty's got some issues apparently, and they're in couples counseling, it looks like. And that's not always the case for everybody, but think of it as, with a marriage or a relationship, you have work comes back into play. You can't be on your honeymoon all the time. You have to get back to work. When kids come into play, that really kind of throws things off a little bit. All of a sudden, this person that you thought was perfect starts to bug you. There's the things that are driving you crazy, and you just aren't sure who they are sometimes, and they're not exactly who you thought they were, right? You think, my future husband or this person would never, they would never leave their socks on the floor. And then you wake up one morning and there are socks on the floor, things like that. With coaching, you have things like time commitments. You realize that maybe you have less time than you had, or you're spending time on things that aren't necessary. You have a slower month. Guess what? Everyone has them. I'm just gonna pull that curtain right back, guys. Everyone has a slow month. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you need to quit. It doesn't mean that you need to stop or that you're a bad coach. It doesn't mean any of that. This business ebbs and flows, and you need to think of it as a whole picture, as a whole month. Not just that your business starts and ends in a month. It's just how you want to continually build it. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But with coaching, it's another challenge are kids. As you add more kids to your family, or as you are trying to work around schedules, it does present some problems and some challenges for sure. Illness. is a huge one. Whether you're experiencing illness or if you have immediate family members who are, whether it's your children, your spouse, maybe aging parents you're taking care of, those are all things, family issues as well, if you're having some family conflicts. These are all things that are part of life. And unfortunately, we can't live in a bubble. We can't live in that honeymoon phase. So we have a few tips to help you kind of figure out what to do when all of these things happen.
Yeah, and one thing to consider, though, is as when you're coaching with all these things, it will pull you away from coaching. And because things do pull you away from coaching, again, like Tiare said, we cannot let that be the end result of what's going to happen to our business, as in letting it die or whatever, because you've been pulled away for a short period of time. So one of the things that we need you to do, or that you need to do with your business, is to start with the end in mind. And this is really critical because you need to start thinking, like Tiare said, not looking at it by a month basis, but start mapping out your whole year, right? And start mapping out what it is you want to achieve and what you want to progress to. And ultimately start with that in mind. Because if you're looking at it each month and basing your business off of each month's performance, some months you're going to want to give up because you did have a slower month, And so we need to look beyond that, to say, all right, well, for example, right now, January is a huge month. It's a great month. It's a month that we start preparing for in November, December to get ready for this month. You got to start looking ahead to what you're going to be accomplishing. So start coaching to stay a coach. And you don't want to quit. So when you go into a marriage, you don't go into that marriage thinking, you know what, I'm going to get divorced at the end of this marriage or within a time period. It's the same thing with coaching. You became a coach because you wanted to coach. You didn't start coaching because you thought you'd quit in a while, right? And so go with that in mind. You start coaching, so don't quit coaching.
We don't divorce TSFL if we can help it.
Exactly. Look and plan for the future, not just month to month. I kind of talked about that a little bit, but really planning for what's coming up, not just what's next week,
And get help from your mentor on that, definitely.
Exactly. However, you do need to live in the daily, and so you have to focus on daily tasks that will build your business. Just like your marriage, you need to work on your marriage every day. You need to tell your spouse that you love them. Otherwise, they'll think you don't. And the same thing with TSFL. You need to work on it every day. You need to be touching your business every day. I like to, set goals on what you can control. It's interesting. Sometimes we set goals, like, for example, with the challenge that's going on right now. You set a goal. I'm going to have 30 people in my group. Well, that's not really a goal that you have control over. Now, what you can control are the number of connections made or the number of coaching offerings that you're making. You can say, I'm going to make 100 connections this week and try getting people signed up for the challenge. Because you can control that. You can't control if they will or will not. Now, granted, your percentages will go up as you get better, but that's not something you can control. So set goals on what you can control and then work towards those. And don't get hung up on the ones that you can't.
Yeah, totally. And with like in marriage, sometimes there's some small stuff that you want to sweat and that kind of drive you crazy. So the toilet paper roll, does it go over or under? How do you fold socks? Do you ball them up? Do you lay them flat?
That green thing is on again. So it makes
here we go. Is that better?
Not yet.
I hear somebody typing.
Yeah.
No.
Can you mute? Anyway, toilet seat, up or down, toothpaste, do you grab it in the middle and squeeze it, or do you roll it from the bottom? When we did this presentation a couple of weeks ago, some of the people in the room were just cringing over a few of these things that I was bringing up because they are things that kind of bug us. And sometimes we get hung up on those little things and start to dwell on those little things, and that's the thing that will stop us dead in our tracks, and it doesn't help us progress. And so it's the same thing with coaching. When you have, and this is for even a brand new coach who's just started maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or you have, or you've been a coach for several years. If you have, very little likes on a post, like a before and after post, maybe you'll start to, freak out about that. If you're trying to wait for the perfect moment, right? So it's like, I'm going to wait until I'm at my 1 year thing, and then I'm going to make this amazing post. And I hope you guys can all laugh with me, because I'm not the only one, I promise, who has really thought out like a really amazing post, and it's like premeditated. You put a lot of like heart and soul into it, and you just think that it's going to change the world. Like, you're going to get 100 clients just because of this post. That's usually not the case. And so when you get very little likes on that post, and really all they are your spouse, your best friend, and your mentor, or your mom, you feel like you want to cry. You feel like you're like, why am I even doing this? And you get hung up, okay? You've got to move past it. Just move past it. And then waiting for the before and after picture. A lot of times we wait, or our clients will wait to post their before and after because they're nervous and they want to be at their like goal weight.
Mm-hmm.
But as we all tell them, your progress is what's going to mean the most to people. And so don't wait for that perfect moment. Just go with the progress.
Yeah, we had one client that he wouldn't take a picture until he was in the specific suit coat that he wanted.
It was a certain suit, like he had to be in that certain suit, and we're like, you've lost 65 pounds, it will show in a pair of shorts. So whatever. Anyway, and then waiting for a certain person to say yes for the program, whether it's to be a client, to be a coach, or just to give them your blessing, give them their blessing, that they endorse you or that they approve of what you're doing. Don't sweat that stuff. Just move right along, because otherwise you can get hung up on it, and it can really drive a huge wedge into your business and your relationship with why you even got coaching.
Yeah.
So let me introduce you a little bit about this. We're actually not going to play the video, but on the Smithson team, we have a really great coach, Deb Olson. She's a presidential director, and she is so inspiring. Since she started over 4 years ago, you know, she's had 2 pregnancies. Now she's having another pregnancy. So this is number 6, right, for the Olsons. And she's actually been through quite a lot. Not only has she been really, really sick with her pregnancy, she's also suffered from thyroid cancer this last year. She's had treatments. She lost a parent recently. All of these major life events have happened while she's been a health coach. And despite everything that's happened, she's really stayed undeterred from her goal in helping people with their health. And so we turned to her and we asked her, you know, Deb, can you please do a video that kind of talks about what that commitment meant? How did you stay committed after that honeymoon phase when all of these things in life happens? How did you do it? How did you stay that strong? Because as a presidential director, you know, Chantel can attest, it's busy, and you have a lot of people that you're helping and mentoring and stuff. But so we will post this in the coaching group so that you can actually watch it, because it is pretty inspiring. But Spence came up with a couple of things that, you know, were our takeaways. Do you want to sum it up?
Yeah. So she does a great job. When you do go back and watch this, and when we post it, I think you'll really enjoy what she has to say. One of the main things that we took away was, you know, you can expect imperfection, but don't let it define you. In other words, you don't need to be a perfect health coach. You don't need the perfect moment, the perfect situation, because it never will happen. You just do the best that you can with what you've got at the time, and expect it to be imperfect, and don't let that hang you up. However, don't not strive for something better and for, you know, doing better, but don't get caught up on it. Basically, is what she's saying, is what she's learned. And the other thing that she really talked about was do what you can do. You know, because with the time limits that you have, the time constraints, the responsibilities, the things pulling you in every direction, you only have so much time in a day that you're actually able to do things. And at that, you only have certain expertise and certain abilities that you can work with, that you haven't developed or are in the process of developing. So you do what you can do, you know, what you physically can do. And that's what you focus on are those things. And don't get caught up on things that you can't do. You know, when you start comparing yourself to other coaches, you start putting yourself down. You're like, oh, those people are amazing. Those coaches are amazing. They can do this or that. Well, their situation isn't the same as yours, and their skills aren't the same as yours. And so don't compare your business to someone else's business. You know, you compare it to yourself and build on what you've worked on, and you know, basically compete against yourself. This month I did this well. Next month I'm going to do better. You know, and do it that way, but doing what you can do and going forward with that. So those were 2 big takeaways, I think, that were really important that she had talked about.
One thing that I want to add really quick that Deborah had mentioned was she talked about how, you know, with her treatments with her cancer and stuff, she gained weight back. And I think a lot of us health coaches have that happen. You know, we get down to our goal weight, we do really well, and then life happens and we put on a little bit of weight, or maybe we bounce back up to where we used to be, and now we kind of feel inadequate to be a health coach. But you know what she said? She said, just because I've gained a little weight because of my treatments and everything that's been happening doesn't mean that I can't help someone achieve their goals. It doesn't mean that they can't achieve their goals and that I'm not a great health coach. So please remember that if you ever feel like you're not a great health coach because maybe your program is kind of suffering, just give yourself the same advice you give to one of your clients. Keep going. Keep progressing, keep working, because it's always going to pay off in the end, and it's not perfect, and it's not going to look perfect, but the end result is going to be something phenomenal, and you'll be able to grow.
Yeah, your weight does not equal your intelligence, your knowledge, you know. So sometimes you will fall back, but, you know, keep on going forward. All right, so sometimes within a marriage, you're going to have conflicts, you're going to have strife, you're going to have arguments, and you're going to have things that you really struggle with. So there are certain ways within TSFL that you can also resolve those. You know, in a marriage, you may go to counseling, or you may go to a friend, or you may go, you may look outside of your marriage for some answers. But within TSFL, there are many things that really help us do the same thing, you know, resolving those conflicts by, for example, using the tools and resources that we have, such as the Habits of Health book, which is a great resource of information. You know, clients have questions or concerns, you just send them there. You have health coach services, you know. If you haven't called them, well, feel free to do so, because they are an incredible resource. They're very open, friendly, and are great resources to work with. And then lastly, though, the most important one, I think, is your mentor coach. As a mentor coach, we personally, as mentor coaches, you know, and I speak in generally here, but I can only make the assumption that you want other people's business to grow, because in turn your business is growing. And so we want to help you with your problems, with your issues, or with any concerns that you have, to help you be successful. Because in turn we're successful, because we're all working together. So please do not put it off. Do not think that you're bothering your mentor coach. Go to them and ask for their advice and their help, and they will help you.
So I'll touch on this really quick. So don't take it personal. Just like in a marriage, when somebody makes an offhand comment that isn't really necessarily meant the way it sounds, don't take it personal. Just keep going. You're gonna have naysayers. You're gonna have friends and family that say no. Just keep sharing, keep working. Understand that what you have is a really precious gift, and it doesn't really matter what they think, because you're really making a difference. So don't take it personal, and just keep moving on.
Let it roll off your back.
Yeah. The last thing is really keep the passion alive. Just like with any relationship, you have to remind yourself why you got started, why you love each other, right?
Why you said yes to that second date.
Why you said yes to the second date. Exactly. You're going to need to do something to keep that alive as well with Take Shape to Life and health coaching. And you need to keep dating, right? That's what all the marriage experts would say. You just keep dating. So you're going to keep dating TSFL. And the best way to do it is you come to your trainings and events. That's really going to keep you connected and keep that passion alive. It helps you find your motivation and reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing. Stay plugged in. Make sure you're talking with your mentor, and that you're also getting on these training calls. They're going to be phenomenal way for you to just keep that passion alive, because you started for a reason. You just need to remind yourself sometimes why you started. And keep your business fun. You know, dating's fun. So is TSFL, and you can make it fun. Don't make it a work. Don't make it like drudgery. Do what you can to make it fun. So if you feel like the fun is leaving, you need to shake things up a little bit, right? So get out and start talking to people. Get out and do other things. Just like you would try something fun with your dating, with your spouse, you try a new activity, you go bowling or whatever. Get outside your comfort zone. That's usually where you're going to grow the very most.
And lastly, lastly is to treat it like any other business. You know, I want you to step back here for a second and think of yourself, of your business, like you're a healthcare professional. Say, for example, you're a dentist, or you're a chiropractor, you're a family practice doctor. I mean, you're any business like that in the healthcare industry. You know, let's assume that after you've opened your doors and you get 10 clients, you know, that you're like really excited. That's awesome. Yes, we're getting clients. But what happens once they reach their goal weight, or once, you know, you fix their teeth, or, you know, you treat them for sickness, and no more clients come in for a month? Do you close your doors? I mean, really, you've put all that time and effort and knowledge into it. You wouldn't close your doors if you're a true healthcare professional, you know, like a dentist or somebody. You'd go out and try finding more clients and try treating more people and helping more people get, you know, healthy. And that's exactly what we need to do with our own business here, is treat it like a real business, like any other business would. You don't close your doors after your first 5 clients. You know, you got your mom, your dad, and a couple of friends. and then they're healthy and they're done, you're like, okay, now what? Those are the people I wanted to help. Are you done? Do you close your doors? Well, no. You keep going, and now you try finding other people to help. And really, that's where it starts to become fun. You've helped those that you love. Now move on, help those that they love. And really treat it like a real business. Businesses are always reinventing themselves. They're always having to re-innovate. They're always having to do things to make sure that they're fresh, new, and that they're still competitive. And you have to do the same thing. And this is a business, and you have to treat it like that in that respect. Your best customer is a repeat customer. Getting clients to come back every month and continue doing their orders. Getting clients to stay on maintenance, those are repeat customers. And also customers that give referrals, that's a great way to get, repeat customers for that way. So your best customer is a repeat customer. And then lastly, it's constantly growing and adapting and never giving up. In any business, you've got to grow, you've got to adapt, and you've got to, and you just can't give up. You can't just close the doors after your first 5 or 10 clients. And you start thinking, oh, it's impossible now. I've already helped people I know. No one else is going to want to get healthy. That's not true. No, there are hundreds of people, thousands of people in the U.S. that need our help. And so don't give up. Don't give up so easily. Stick with it. And you may have a slow month right now, but next month or the month after that could be an awesome month. And you will really make a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. So really, that's it.
That's it.
Okay, I don't know about you guys, but that was extremely relatable. I don't know, like so many things you said, I think we all have experienced those feelings one time or another. And it's just, if you're a new coach, know that those are coming. Those feelings are going to come. I remember going to my first Go Global as a brand new ED, as my first national convention or my first big event. And all the leaders got up there. And I kind of had this preconceived notion that, these leaders were kind of these special, anomalies that for some reason or another, they were dealt just the perfect hand and they were successful. What I realized was everybody, and if you hear any of these coaches' stories, even on our own team, they've all had the exact same feelings and they've all had these struggles. It's just a matter of how they have dealt with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's exactly what Tiare and Spencer have shared with us. We for some reason, we keep convincing ourselves that we're different. Like we're just unlucky here, or I just can't pick up on that as quite as best. Or my friends just aren't the ones that want to coach or whatever. But we all experience those. It's how you deal with it. So good. Let's open it up for a few questions. Please hop off mute and ask Tiare and Spencer or a comment. We'd love to hear if you guys have experienced these same things or how that kind of struck you.
Hey, Shan, I'll go. I'll be honest, the last 2 months have been really, really hard for us. And we've really, really struggled, And that not giving up and keep working, it's been amazing. This last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had people come out of the woodworks. I had 2 or 3 clients who I had talked to for over a year that decided to join. And so we've been really loving the fruits of the health challenge. But I will tell you, we had over 500 people that we invited to the health challenge. And but it took a while before we got the fruit.
Yeah,
and
it does.
Just don't give up. And you never know. And it's because it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to say, oh, this month was bad, I can't do it. And so I love what Tiare and Spencer said, that really find your why, and why do you love it? What's fun about it? Because if you forget what's fun, it's easy to be like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when you think of the stories, and I had one of my clients text me this morning, she's like, I'm 18 pounds down in 3 weeks, and just hearing her excitement and different things that you're just like, this is why I do what I do. I love this. It's so fun. So anyway.
Thank you for sharing that. Seriously, I just love honesty, and I love hearing, really what you're experiencing and how you were able to overcome that. And it's so cool that you overcame that so quick. Like in the grand scheme of things, like 2 months, like 2 bad months, whatever, but you were able to flip that around because you guys kept working. And that's the bottom line, is the consistency. So good. What other comments?
I loved what they said about it being like, if you were a healthcare professional, like you wouldn't just close your doors after like one bad month or people not coming in consistently for you. Like you would just go out and you would work hard and you would find those people again. And so I think it comes back down to like maybe solidify in my mind that like, do I see myself as a professional? And, you know, and what would I do to have what it takes to get a flourishing business? And so I love that, like just, you know, making it professional again, you know?
Yep.
Amanda, you've talked a lot about that before, about making this, I love what you've said in the past about what you view yourself as, professional, or is this just a hobby?
Yeah, I really love to just keep thinking about, if I wasn't doing this, what would I be doing, you know? And for me, there's just not another option that pays like this with the amount of time that you can put into it. So if you can just find those like 1 or 2 hours a day and just keep your list. And then I love what they said. It kind of goes along with what Marcy said, but just not letting a bad couple of months like really get you down, and kind of looking forward to expecting it, like expecting. And it's hard because you want to say like any time of the year you can find clients if you're working, and usually it's if you're putting the action steps and you're going to see growth, but that's not always true. And I like the other thing about just keeping things fresh and new and shaking things up. And I think it's important to stay plugged into the Facebook groups where they're always posting the best ideas. If we ever have an idea, like the focus group in November, it's like if we ever have an idea, someone puts it up there and says, this is really working. And you can just like, that's how you kind of shake it up and make things new. But like those months like November and December, if you're working and, you know, things are going to come, but maybe keep a different mindset instead of being discouraged, like, oh, it's November and December and nobody ever buys anything in November and December. Like look for ways to market it for those months, like give yourself the gift of health or whatever. And then also just keeping your eye forward on January, like Marcy was said, just what can you still do if you're going to go to work every day, either at this job or, you know, like being a receptionist at a doctor's office or something. I don't know. What would you do if you weren't doing this job to try to earn money? Like, I don't know if that came, there's just no comparison to me. It just seems like we can make the same or so much more money in such a smaller amount of time. We might as well put the work in every day at home instead of like away where you can't go on your kids' field trips and things like that.
Absolutely.
We're committed. Your time's just not flexible.
Very well said. It's so true. And you referred to the part of, I love the line about the dating that you guys said about keep dating and the events. Would you guys agree that when you go to an event, that's kind of like dating in a marriage where you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. It's the mixing up part. Like, let's, you know, I want to go do this when you come home from an event. I talked to several of you coaches after the last event that was just, you guys were so on fire. You have this motivation and this drive that I'm not sure where else you can get that. So that's a huge plug. I want to put a plug in for the February event next month. Hopefully all of you are signed up for Kim Fisk event in Salt Lake. People are flying in from all over. This isn't just us locals doing this. So hopefully everyone can come, and if you make it, if you can make it, it will definitely be worth your time and you will see the growth come from it. If you can't come from other reasons, that's okay. You can still grow your business, but you will definitely see it will be worth your time. So any last words before we close?
I think really quick, Shan, something to remember, like especially for newer coaches or coaches who maybe didn't plant seeds very much during November, December, just because life gets really busy during that time, you are not missing out if you start now. You know what I mean? Like, just because there are a lot of us who experienced, an increase of clients in January, February, March, all of those months can be really successful for you too. You just need to get started. So I think that would be my biggest, offer to anyone who's brand new and thinking, well, I've totally missed the boat for January and there's no way on earth I'm going to be able to hit senior coach this month or to help more people or even to just do anything because my life was crazy for the last couple months. Don't feel like that at all. Just do what you can do. Talk to your mentor coach and make a plan. I mean, people can still sign up for the health challenge, so that's not too late. And then, of course, it's never, ever too late to offer people the gift of health. So that would be my last little bit of advice.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's a very common thing to revert back to. Like any excuse you have, it's just, oh, well, I missed the boat. Darn it. I really wasn't planting seeds in November, December. And you know what? Maybe it's not a great month for you. Maybe January, this is your lowest month, and you're thinking, well, January is supposed to be the biggest month. Oh my gosh, I totally failed at this. But in reality, it directly relates, like Tiare said, to your effort, what you've been doing even the prior couple months. So, I mean, if you start now, you might see the results in the next couple of months. So, yeah. And that's coming from coaches, us, that we have totally seen that happen many, many times. So I'm speaking from experience, major experience.
Hey, Chantel, I just wanted to mention one other thing, which is like Amber said at the training, you know, the thing that she's learned most is that how much of it is in our heads. And so it's important. And, you know, that's another reason to like keep getting on the training and keep going to the events, because it really helps to put our thinking in the right place. And that's when people always hit biggest goals. You know, it's like their mind is in the right place. But then also, and just an example of that, like for me, I was kind of like, oh, July is always like December for me. It's like, oh, it's that month that everybody's like lazy and busy with their kids and no one wants to start anything till their kids go back to school or whatever. But Jamil Frazier hit presidential during July, and I was like, whoa, like you can do anything. But I think the big key to it is like having a really specific goal and then getting really specific action steps. And if you're past that point, like if you feel like you're past that point where they talked about where it's easy, you know, like maybe you lost 60 pounds and everyone was like, whoa, what were you doing? Like I even had a client tell me that someone thought that they were on meth because they were getting so skinny. I thought that was hilarious. Like someone was really worried about them. They like were ready for an intervention. Anyway, so if you're past that, people aren't like begging you for information. The things that I've heard from the most successful people, like Ashley and Brad Miller and, you know, a lot of the presidentials, was that they just decided that it was time and that they like really got focused and they had to do a few things, get some advice from mentors, and maybe do things that they were a little too scared to do in the past, but they were really specific action steps, like writing down who they thought would be great coaches and then approaching a certain number of people and saying, I think you'd be a great coach. So maybe you've been too scared to call someone in the past, but maybe now's the time to like really start hitting it hard on collecting yeses, or calling somebody and saying, hey, I think you'd be a great coach prospect. You know, like, I think you'd be a great coach. Have you ever wondered about what I do? Just keep listening to the leaders and talking to your mentor about what action steps you can take, because that's really what it's all about. It's the action steps.
Yeah. And it's true. It's all in your head. When I mentor coaches, I always ask them first, like, okay, what's your goal? What do you see yourself as? Like, where do you want to be? And whatever they say, I totally believe them. Like, it's, if they have like really kind of not lofty goals and they're just like, oh, I don't know, I think maybe I can maintain this month. I go, okay, that's a red flag to me to say, okay, like that's where they're at. That's where they think. And that's really what they're going to achieve. Like, I know that that's as far as they're going to go. But if they have these huge goals, and even some of it's really lofty, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's kind of impossible. But I know that they're at least going to get close to that because they view themselves as that. And that's really the biggest difference in people that succeed and don't. So I totally have seen that happen, Amanda. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. And just one more thing, and sorry to be like such a conversation hog, but so one more thing, I saw an article posted today on a totally different subject, and it was all about if you're not enjoying your work or if you're not having success, then the whole key is like learning to love the people that you're serving. I'm going to post that in my coach group, and if anyone wants to steal that, I read it and was just like, oh my gosh, this is all about health coaching, like just learning to love people, showing them that you're going to help them to reach their goals. Anyway, so that's all I have to say.
All right. Thanks for being on, you guys. I hope this was of help to you, and sure was help to me. So we will see you on next week. Have a great week.